was a hard game, and we wouldn't have expected anything different. I mean, coming into this one, I don't know if our young guys realize, but our coaching staff and our older players certainly realize we're going to play a very, very unique team, a team that moves the ball extremely well, and just difficult to guard. I thought, for us, we got to do a much better job of being able to keep the ball out of the lane. Easier said than done, when you're playing against a team that, makes several passes per possession. You're talking about 11, 12, 13 passes before a guy drives the ball. But be that as it may, they could make 25 passes. We still have to do a better job of being able to keep the ball in front and lock in off the ball, not get sucked in on penetration that happened a few times like it did in the second half. Offensively, I think we had what we statted as 13 maybe paint touches in the first half. And most of those 13 paint touches were probably in the first 8 or 9 minutes. And I think we hit a couple jump shots, and our guys started to feel like that's how we can, open up this thing. And I thought we would have learned the hard way against Ohio State. We just played around the perimeter. It doesn't give you much chance to draw fouls. You're relying simply on jump shots, and you don't get the defense out of position to offensive rebound. In the second half, we had 25 paint touches. And as evidenced by the first, 3 or 4 minutes, Coach Davenport called a timeout. We were getting the ball in the lane. We were in the bonus a lot quicker. That's how we have to play. Now, it's a little bit different for us right now because we're playing with, without two of our, better players and our bigger guys and the guys that we would try to pound the ball into, at least with Malik and Steven. But be that as it may, it's a great test for our team. I thought we took a step forward from the game against the scrimmage against Ohio State. As I told our team, we need to. It's for real starting a week from tonight.
Jordan seemed like he was limping a little bit at the very end there. Do you expect to have both him and Steven available for Miami?
I do. Jordan cramped up. You're talking about, how many minutes did he end up playing? 38, which I don't want to play him 38 minutes, but we got a lot of inexperience on the floor, and I don't want to be known as the coach that loses to Bellarmine at Louisville. Be tough really going into my Dunkin' Donuts. So, again, no disrespect. We knew it would be a hard game. I've lost to those guys before, so I didn't want that feeling. But, Jordan's just cramped up, and I'd expect that if you play that amount of minutes this early in the season.
How's Steve? Is he okay? And just how critical is he going to be?
No, he's critical. He's a big piece of our team. We all know that. He's fine. I shouldn't say fine, but he will be fine for the Miami game, which is why we took the precaution of sitting him this game. He got knocked in the thigh a couple times, once against Ohio State and then a second time in practice, and his thigh sort of swelled up a little bit. And, Fred will do a great job, but I don't anticipate him being out when we start the season. That's the most important thing, not tonight.
What do you think of Sam and I guess some of the other freshmen in general?
Sam made some great plays for us. Came up with some key rebounds on both ends of the floor. 5 offensive. He made a nice curl cut in the lane. Thought he found his confidence a little bit. He was much better defensively in the second half than he was in the first. And as I said, he has a nose for the ball and seemed to come up with some key rebounds and chased a few down, and then played with the poise that I've come to expect just coaching him in the preseason.
Chris, last week you said you could do pretty much anything with Dwayne and he would respond. You put him really at the 5 position tonight and he comes up with a big game, and a lot of those rebounds were on the offensive end.
Yeah, Dwayne had 5 offensive rebounds, and he's a warrior. He's a warrior. If I ask him to play the 5, if I ask him to play the 3, he's not going to bat an eye. I've said it a million times. He doesn't really, but he's got to get better. I think that I don't want it to sell him off as this glue guy and, hey, you're doing the best you can. Like, he's got to get better. He's got to help us on screening actions and be louder. He's got to be more vocal. He's got to guard the ball better. I think a couple of their 5 men went around him off the dribble, and we have to rely on Dwayne as one of our stalwarts on defense, not a guy that gets beat off the bounce. So I'm not just going to sing his praises. He's got to get better for us to be the type of team that I know we're capable of.
When did you know Steven wasn't going to play, and did that lead you to use some lineups tonight that you guys haven't used in practice?
So for whenever our last off day was, heck, I can't even remember. Was our last off day Sunday? No, yesterday was Sunday. What day is it today? It's Tuesday. So we took Saturday off. Yeah, there we go.
We practice Sunday, yes.
Season starts, I'm in a cave, I don't look at calendars, it's just next practice. So we took Saturday off, and then, Fred had texted me that night, on Saturday night, and said, I'm going to try to get Steven ready. I said, you know what, he's a warrior, he practices every day, and, the gold jersey that we wear, this will show you, how competitive Steve is. He was leading in practice stats, rebounds, blocks, points, charges taken, you name it. And probably would have won the gold jersey had he been able to practice on Sunday. And so I texted him and said, Steven, you're going to take tomorrow off, and then we'll reassess. I want to give you a couple days in a row. And he said, Coach, I'll do what you say, but I really wanted to win the gold jersey. And so Jordan ended up winning it, and Steve sat out. And then we sat him out Monday, and guy's been out of practice for 3 days. We'll probably get him back 2 or 3 days from now, and in hopes that he'll be 100% for Miami.
Coach, has Fresh Kimball come along the way you've liked him to so far? If so, or why not?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the beginning other than Fresh.
Sorry, has Fresh Kimball come along the way you like him to so far? And if so, or if not, why?
He's got to play better. I thought tonight he did some good things. He made that little pull up in the lane, then found Dwayne. He's just got to get his feet under him. CC wasn't very good early on, and so I have a lot of faith in a fifth-year senior, a guy that'll figure it out. He can play both on and off the ball, but I think he was probably a little nervous, playing the first time, at our level, and for a team that he's excited to be a part of. But he's going to be a guy that we really depend on. Again, gives you that comfort when he's on the floor of getting things run. Having said that, him, Ryan, and Darius, I think they go, 8 assists, 1 turnover, and I'll take that from our primary ball handlers.
Coach, a game like this is difficult for a player like Aiden, really any big for that matter, because of Bellarmine's style of play. So do you see this as a good opportunity for him to have to watch out for those back doors and different things that Bellarmine likes to do?
It's a good opportunity to get exposure at a high level. But it really isn't indicative of a lot of the styles that he'll face. Many of the players that he'll be guarding are going to anchor themselves in the post, lip out and set ball screens, and then try to dunk it on your face when the shot goes up. And, in this game, he's guarding guys that are back cutting, that are, curling. They're playing 90% of the possession on the perimeter. And that's just not what he's going to see a whole lot. And on the other end, I've said it before, he's not a play-through post yet. He's a guy that's got to be able to finish things. And so you notice the one time he got in the post, it was like Gulliver's Travels and all the Lilliputians around him. He had like 16 guys around him. And so he's got to get more comfortable for sure on the offensive end. But it's a very, very unique style for a big guy to play against Bellarmine, the way they play.
Anything else for Coach?
I got one. Sure.
Okay.
When you go to Miami, and what's the game plan between now and then? What are you trying to improve on?
Everything. But we'll take inventory of tonight's game and figure out areas that, regardless of the opponent, we have to get better at. We're going to try to get some of our guys, in better condition. A guy like Quinn, certainly get Steve back in the fold. And so we'll have 11, knock on wood, scholarship players available, and then we'll start to focus our attention on Miami and what they present. A team that is led by one of the better point guards in the league, a guy that can score it at a high level and get in the lane, and that's going to be a challenge. But we'll worry about those guys here in a few days. We're going to worry about getting better from the Bellarmine game first.
Last question in the back.
Coach, what do you think about the NCAA today announcing that players can make money?
Well, I've said it before. I'm on record as a supporter. I don't know what it should and will look like. But I do think it's time with, really every power conference team having their own, or power conference league having their own network, the amount of money involved. But, I think it's a step in the right direction. The NCAA is not this evil empire that's, against the kids. I think they've made moves over the last several years that have really helped student athletes. Cost of attendance, unlimited meals, just to name a few. And I think they're moving in the right direction. What that's going to look like remains to be seen.